Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, saluting Earth Day on April 22nd with an ongoing commitment to help offset carbon emissions with sustainable harvesting of Missouri forests. Details at choosewood.com.
Welcome to St. Louis on the Air. I'm Jim Kirchherr. Better Together has withdrawn its proposal to merge St. Louis City and County. After months of buzz about the ambitious consolidation plan, joining us for an update on the story is St. Louis Public Radio politics editor Fred Ehrlich, who joins me in the studio. Fred, thanks for coming in.
Happy to be here.
Surprise to you yesterday? Obviously, it was having some trouble, but this kind of withdrawal?
I was surprised at the complete withdrawal of it. The major hang-up that people had with it, I mean, people had various problems with it, but the big thing was the statewide vote, and that was just a killer. I thought they would somehow make some kind of a compromise, being pushed by the state legislature and other people to have it have to be approved in St. Louis City and County. So that's what I was expecting. I was expecting some changes, not a complete withdrawal.
I mean, it came out with a lot of fanfare, enthusiasm. It seemed like one of the best organized and research efforts at city-county reunification in a long time. And maybe that was the impression they wanted us to have. But it just seemed to have totally lost traction, first spinning its wheels and then I think kind of sliding back. What happened?
Well, I think several things happened. I think that, like I said, the statewide vote really became a dominant, negative for them to try to overcome. The Stenger indictment was, maybe the nail in the coffin there. People just, concern over public trust and public confidence in government in general, county government in particular, and being part of the merger. I think they had a lot of town hall meetings where they heard the same thing, but they didn't seem to be too responsive to residents' concerns. There's a lot of good things, in my opinion, in the overall plan. Consolidated economic development, consolidated policing and municipal courts. But there was so much negative reaction and also feelings in all the communities in St. Louis County that wanted to keep their government and their way of governing intact.
The folks who want to deal with some of the issues that the region faces, there's probably some lessons learned here that can be applied to the future, I would think.
Absolutely. I think if they're smart, they'll go back and they'll really review, what they thought people would, how they thought people would react and how people did react and how they presented the plan. Maybe the plan should be scaled back. Maybe it was just too much too fast, and so maybe something that is a smaller step towards a merger, but not a complete merger, is the way to go. I don't know if that can be done. There's several questions about whether things need to be done by constitutional amendment and other issues. And I'm no expert on those intricate legal issues, but I think that it was so massive that was also a problem with the plan.
And then the question of inclusiveness and African American engagement in this. That seems to me, that's a killer in this community. If you don't have that participation and that support, at least some of it, it's not going to go anywhere.
Exactly, and it didn't go anywhere. That's another big reason that I forgot to mention that it didn't succeed. There was, when you looked at the setup also of the transition government, where basically everyone in county government would take over, leaving out the city officials who are, predominantly black elected officials, that was a no-go.
I think it's got everybody thinking a little bit more about it. So I'm thinking this is not going to go away, but it may not come back for a while.
That's my thinking too. I think that right now there's too many open wounds to bring it back right away. But I think there's some good ideas in it, and I think this region desperately needs some of those ideas. I think the leaders understand that. I think, like I said, the smart thing for them to do would be to regroup, rethink, refocus, and come up with a proposal that's more acceptable.
But not on the ballot.
Right.
At least not this year.
Not this year.
Right.
I'd be shocked. I mean, they were talking about on the ballot for 2020 because they had to have time to collect the signatures, but I don't see that happening.
Right. That's Fred Ehrlich, St. Louis Public Radio's political editor. Thanks so much for bringing us up to speed on this.
Thanks for having me on.
This is St. Louis on the Air on St. Louis Public Radio, 90.7 KWMU.
The Gateway brings you the day's news from the St. Louis region and across Missouri. It also includes stories from the Illinois side of the river and our Metro East reporter, Will Bauer.
In Alton, in Belleville, in East St. Louis, in Edwardsville, in Cahokia Heights, at Scott Air Force Base, I'm Will Bauer. St. Louis Public Radio.
Listen to reports from Will and all of our journalists weekdays on The Gateway, on the STLPR app, and wherever you get podcasts.